my lockdown holiday in 2020, I journeyed to the northeast and the spectacular county of Northumbria. The sleepy fishing town of sea houses on the North Sea coast was crowded, but the harbour was quiet compared with its heyday in the 1900s, when social distancing was not a requirement. Harbour at sea houses, pretty windy. This is the only place I could come for a bit of shelter, at the rear end of this boat. Oh, sorry, the aft of this boat. Heading out to the Farne Islands to discover puffins, grey seals and other wonderful things. Looking forward to that. There are many boat trips out to the nearby Farne Islands, home to basking grey seals, puffin birds and Longstone Lighthouse, the site of an historic sea rescue in the early 1800s. A good crowd of folk, clad in face coverings, set sail and found the exact spot where an heroic lady named Grace Darling rescued survivors from a sinking steamship in 1838. She was an English lighthouse keeper's daughter, aged just 22. Her participation in the rescue of survivors from the shipwrecked Forfarshire brought her national fame as she and her father battled through rough seas to rescue 9 survivors from the stricken ship. These boat trips are most famous for seeing puffins and seals, plus many other species including shags, kittiwakes, razorbills, eider ducks and guillemots. No puffins now though, because they leave in July after breeding, and it was September now. The Farne Islands are home to thousands of grey seals, also known as Atlantic seals, and each autumn hundreds of pups are born here. So if you're pregnant, it's best to lie around and just have a drink on the rocks. It's just a short trip and we're back in the harbour after about an hour and a half. But the name Grace Darling lives on in these parts. The lifeboat bears her name as a memorial to her heroism. The boat was launched while I was there, and she was launched into the water with a team of paramedics on board, going out to sea to rescue a seriously ill crew member from a ship. An ambulance was standing by to take him to hospital when the lifeboat returned. Grace Darling was born in the little village of Bamberg, just a short distance up the coast from sea houses. Interesting place this, because although it looks ancient, it has all kinds of modern facilities. At least they were deemed modern at the turn of the 18th to 19th centuries. Before I even go any further, just take a look at that beach. Yes, it's empty. No one goes for a dip in the North Sea at this time of the year. Just a bit too cold. On the outside, it's not a grand castle design, but appearances can be deceptive. When you step inside, you pass through centuries of history, featuring the brilliant creations of Victorian innovator William Armstrong. He was a visionary inventor, industrialist and philanthropist. He set about transforming it into his vision of the archetypal castle. The castle houses his unique collection of artwork, ceramics and objets d'art. The castle itself, by the way, starred as the magnificent Brancaster Castle in Downton's Abbey 2015 special and featured as Hogwarts in the first 2 Harry Potter films. As you tour around the castle, you can hear the voice of the late Lord Armstrong, with details about items you can see in the billiard room.
We now pass into 3 small rooms, which formed originally the ground floor accommodation of the 2 lodgings. Nowadays there are 2 self-contained flats. above where we are now, occupied by permanent tenants.
Next day, a trip south to visit the town of Alnwick, or Alnwick as the locals call it. Even I don't get it right.
Well, this is Alnwick, nestling in the Northumbrian countryside. A truly beautiful and historic place, as you will see. Even here we've got this sign which tells you that the two shops occupy a building erected in the 15th century as a guest house for Alnwick Abbey. And the whole place is pedestrianised with fighting dogs everywhere. I have never seen so many dogs since I've been up here. Everybody has a dog, mainly of course because they're all on a staycation, and the great thing is that wherever you are in the UK you can pop the dog in the boot. Unfortunately they often let them out when they get to their destination.
The claim to fame for Alnwick is one of the UK's most famous bookstores. It's huge, with thousands of books, all housed in the town's excellent but now disused railway station. Barter Books is now world famous. The railway terminus was closed back in the day of steam trains, which made their last run back in 1966. Today, the booking office houses some of the dozens of second-hand books of every title imaginable before you enter an even bigger area. And just in case you forget you are in what was once a railway station, there are a few charming reminders. So, time to head south and home, but not until we visit one of my favourite museums in its 50th year, an amazing collection of reconstructed buildings and artefacts from our industrial past.
We're at Beamish now. This amazing museum relives the golden days of the industrial history of the northeast of England. And this is a colliery, where in fact we have a complete recreation of how a working colliery was hundreds of years ago.
Everything you see here is original, from the colliery's office, with authentic items housed in an original building, together with an amazing reconstruction of the miners' homes back in Victorian times. But it's all a bit ghostly. Normally, there will be actors here in costume welcoming you in for a brew. The Pithead village has an authentic church and, of course, a local school. I didn't want detention, so I just went in via the boys' entrance and saw hand washing was just as important then as it is today. Modern-day school children help to bring this place to life, while the classroom remains eerily empty. So, I get a vintage bus, because there are no trams, into the 1900s town to take a look around the shops, with hundreds of items saved from a bygone era.
Well, I've got to say, Beamish is a bit of a disappointment. Normally it isn't, it's fantastic. But COVID, like everything, has wrecked this particular venue. Nothing is working, no trams are running. As you can see, no trains are running. And the whole thing is running at half cock. So a disappointing visit really from a truly wonderful museum which I've been to in the past, which has been really buzzing.
It's been a bit of an adventure. Nice to rediscover this colourful corner of England, coping as best it can with the restrictions of Britain and the world in 2020. I look forward to returning in better times.